5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
Would I be as bored with the Adebayo, Tyler Hero alleged fight story if it involved two either current or former Timberwolves teammates? I don't know why. I mean, I get it. It's weird. It's kind of juicy. But I don't really need an investigative report on it. Do you? I don't know why. It just seems, okay, yeah, this weird stuff happens. They're separated now. There may have been some comments made back and forth. They don't play each other. They're on different teams now. I don't know. Right. I'm not as captivated by that story. Are people captivated because, again, it's the off season? And
there's that.
I don't know. It's not good, but I don't think it's not unprecedented. The two players used to be teammates, whatever, they get at it a little bit, and they start talking, jawing, and then it turns into something else. I mean, it wasn't like anybody got hurt, I don't think.
I think, honestly, it's just the time of the year.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's the summer. I don't know if we're even captivated by it, or it's just really one of the only things to report on. It's just something else different. The breathless reporting, even by Shams, is the headline on it, like, here's the latest on it. Like, how much more can there be on it? The latest.
Has there been like a second episode, or they say, okay, they don't like each other. One guy got mad about some comments made about the other guy. Okay, it's whatever.
Speaking of Shams,
okay,
let's start there. The latest on LeBron on NBA Today.
Rania Shams, we just heard Cavs coach Kenny Atkinson confirm their exciting pursuit of LeBron James. What are you hearing about timing of LeBron's decision?
MJ, every day LeBron James inches closer and closer to a decision. It's decision time for LeBron James because all the information for the most part is in. GMs, presidents, owners, they've all been heard from. They're continuing to have conversations with agent Rich Paul here this week as well. Players have also reached out to LeBron James to recruit him. And yes, all the voice notes have also been listened to. And rosters have been set around the league. The decks have been set. And the leading suitors have been Cleveland, Miami, Golden State, Philadelphia, and Minnesota. And what we know definitively is LeBron James has made it clear privately that he wants to go somewhere where he can compete for a championship, somewhere where he feels like he finds that happiness from a team environment and culture that he feels he can uplift. And the big thing here is this is not going to be a financially driven decision. So that gives LeBron James the ability to hear from teams that have the minimum, have other exceptions, have salary cap space as well, and also be allowed to take his time through this decision.
Does it move you at all that the Timberwolves are still listed in that group of 5?
No, but what does strike me is how disappointed I am in Shams. Because that was a nothing report. If he's got all these unbelievable sources, why can't he tell us who it's going to be? Or even go as far as Windy did, which was, well, I guess he kind of did on the basis of the teams he said left. Because did he say Cleveland was left? I don't think he did. Did he eliminate Cleveland? I don't remember.
I thought he said he heard that Cleveland wasn't in it anymore, or a team other than Cleveland.
That's what Windy said. What I'm saying, did Shams include that in the report that just played? I don't know. I want from Shams, come on, man. You're the man. I want it narrowed further, at least. If you can't flat out tell me who, I don't think that advances the story. No, it doesn't. I don't think it, quite frankly, means much of anything. And I've said Sunday, I would love to be wrong. I would be delighted to be wrong. I would not leave town if I'm wrong, but I would apologize on 100,000 watt. Well, I wouldn't say apologize. I would acknowledge that I had said it just was not going to happen on 100,000 watt radio. So, because I still think it's being done in this sort of, not in a patronizing way, but just a way of, it's more interesting if you have more teams still hanging, like they're hanging around. And I just don't think that LeBron is taking this opportunity seriously. Maybe he should, but I don't think
everybody's telling him now he should.
Well, he should, but that's still very different than, there's no question about that. So, no, you do. I know you're still, you're hanging in.
Until they're told no.
Yeah.
I'm glad, first of all, I'm glad you're not leaving him a voice memo. That one voice memo from Ant could change it all.
I would have no problem leaving a positive voice memo. for LeBron. I have no problem, like I said, endorsing it. I just think I'm trying to protect Wolves fans, including you, from getting too into it. And I guess you could say, again, there's no harm done if in the end he doesn't come here. But I think there's going to be some people who are rather crushed. There are some people, by the way, who will be crushed if he comes here.
Which is bizarre to me.
They get the old, I don't want that circus. Oh, the circus. Did you enjoy the Brett Favre circus? You sure as hell did when it happened. You may have whined when it started that you weren't going to like the circus, but you're a hypocrite. Because it quickly became clear that he could still play, and you loved the circus. You loved being the center of media attention when it came to pro football that season. Until, of course, he threw across the body.
Wow, that came up today.
He did.
I know. Somebody, I think Minnesota tweeted today that somehow the 2009 NFC Championship game came up again on the Power Trip morning show this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why do you do that? Lieber's sitting right there. And my response was
especially painful for him.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you say, like it comes up like once, like 4 times a year. It just out of nowhere comes up, and I did not see that one coming. Like Brett Favre to that Saints defensive back, I did not see that one coming. I thought we were going to be free and clear of the 2009 championship game today. I thought this was going to be a safe space for that, but it's not.
No, it will never be a safe space.
It's true. It's true. Did you see? I'm sure you talked about yesterday that as much as we love Johan Berenger, he's already getting load management. Plays one good summer league game. Now he's got back tightness. Didn't play on Saturday.
Does this mean he's brittle?
I don't know. Maybe. Can't rule it out at this point. But anyway, Wolves, I think, scheduled to play tonight at like 10 o'clock Central. I don't think I'm going to stay up for it. We play the Blazers.
I don't think I will either. Yeah,
at 10 o'clock at Thomas and Mack Center. Twins are on their way to Philadelphia. At least a couple of them. Buck, obviously Joe Ryan, on their way for the All-Star game because the All-Star break is upon us, and they're going in red hot. They win again. They beat the Angels 4-2. They've now won 8 of their last 9 series. Trevor Larnach was a dong yesterday, drove in a couple of runs. Ryan Jeffers as well. And they win 4-2 to inch ever closer to that elusive 500 mark, Dan. They entered the break at 48 and 49. They are 3 games back of the Guardians and White Sox for first place in the AL Central because those 2 teams are tied and are in a percentage points tie with the Seattle, or a record tie with the Seattle Mariners, I should say, for the 3rd and final wild card spot.
Well,
your Minnesota Twins.
We did discuss a lot of Twins, probably the most we've discussed the Twins in months, very early in the show, about the sort of delicious nature of the current condition of the club, in which, by their own history, whether this is real or Memorex, they've kind of backed themselves into a corner where if they don't at least give the illusion this time around, they're going to try to improve the team's chances with, for example, helping the bullpen, they're going to get savaged. And a savvy baseball guy might say, don't kid yourself. You're not as good as you appear because of the way the division's set up or the American League is set up. But I just don't think we can get away with that sort of baseball approach because we have such a sad history when it comes to this ownership about the way they have literally, from the moment where we finally broke through on a playoff series, botched this franchise more badly than any franchise I can think of in recent memory, period. I mean, I just don't think you get around it. We don't have to go back through the history. 2 payroll drops, right-size the payroll, etc. Go down the road, gut the bullpen again last year. So you certainly can't trumpet that you're better than, we said we were going to be a little bit better than we people thought we were, and here we are. You can't trumpet it if you're going to turn around then and say we're selling at the deadline. That's the sticky wicket the Twins have put themselves in, which is why there's really no reason to feel sorry for them.
Lynx had a nice win on Saturday. It was a matinee affair at Target Center against the New York Liberty. They hang on to get a victory there. They're back in action tonight, a little late night, 8 o'clock tip tonight. A game you can hear right here on the Fan. They're taking on the Phoenix Mercury. And it's on Peacock. I'm going to let you know. It's on Peacock and NBC Sports Network tonight if you want to watch.
Do we hate the Mercury?
I don't know. We used to because of Taurasi. I don't know if we hate them as much anymore. Yeah. They're not very good. They're 6-18, I think, is their record.
And the kid point guard came back I watched a decent portion of this. Was it Sunday game?
Saturday.
Saturday, that's right. Yeah. Saturday day game. And looked good.
She did. Knocking threes down.
Yeah, I mean, she only had one assist at the half, but she was scoring. And it was a good game, actually. The Liberty, I thought, might steal it at one point, and then we kind of responded to their charge.
Kayla McBride was good.
Very good. You're right about it. She actually probably, in that for a decent stretch of the fourth quarter, was very much the key. Hip Cricket's denying me now. I can't. I don't know what to do. Why does Hip Cricket not want me to verify? I've got the number. I've double-checked it and triple-checked it. You know what it says? See what it says. Invalid verification code. Why do we let the terrorists win?
With microphones off, the Hip Cricket's down.
I don't understand, man. I don't.
You're just trying to live your life.
I don't need all these challenges. Do you?
No.
We got Johnny in 15 minutes. Anything else you want to get to, by the way? Did I leave anything out?
You didn't, except the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. The final keyword of the evening for us is check. Go to KFAN.com and enter the keyword check.
We might have, if we had our own preposterous statement tournament, we might have the winner on the basis of an email I received listening to our conversation about LaMelo Ball's shooting acumen. We'll get to that and a couple of other outside the world of sports nuggets, maybe owed to a dead guy. There might be two of those before this show is done in various forms. And then, as I mentioned, Jonny Athletic at the bottom of the hour, filing a live report after his trip to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on The Fan.
This Sunday, you can watch with us and Nordo at Boardwalk Kitchen and Bar as a champion is crowned. They'll have the final match on. Tons of games, prizes, of course, great drink specials. The party starts at 2. See you Sunday. Boardwalk Kitchen and Bar in Shakopee.
We had a listener who was paying attention to the section of the program in which we were chatting about a number of Finchy comments on LaMelo Ball via Chris Hine. And we got into the issue of his shooting, which I said is not ideal for a point guard, for a scoring guard, even though he can score, obviously. Pretty solid from three-point range, but not overall number. And LaMelo Ball, what would it be, a LaMelo Obo?
Or a Lamobo?
Lamobo. I like that. Lamobo works for me. Said, what are you talking about? I said, well, the numbers speak for themselves. And via my email, this came in. Dan, Jordan was 32.7% for career from three-point range. Try and keep the facts straight. Now, what can you reason with someone that idiotic? He's right on the Jordan number, but our thrust was on overall shooting percentage. Michael Jordan, as a guard, shot basically 50% from the floor. Now, he wasn't a particularly good three-point shooter, but also was a different age. The game...
Totally different time.
So it's apples and oranges anyway. And even that is only 4 percentage points worse than LaMelo, or the gap, I guess I should say. But my God, man, whatever opinion you might have, don't get the facts straight or keep the facts straight if you're going to conveniently leave out that from the guard position, how many guards have shot with his shooting volume, shot better than or close to, I think he was for his career 49.7%, and only went under 50 because the last few years he faded a little bit in that regard. He's basically a 50% perimeter shooter, and I say perimeter in that he got a lot of his shots inside, but as a perimeter player, as a guard. Come on, man. You can do better than that. So can 6'1" guy, I think. See, or maybe you'll agree. Favre was likable. LeBron is not.
Oh,
it's so tired.
Yeah.
It's so lazy.
I mean, you might not like him, but that's not universal.
But why don't you like him?
Right.
If you don't like him, we've played with and tweaked. For example, this whole enterprise of keeping himself in the news during the World Cup. Yeah, it's eye-rolling to a certain extent. You go, come on, man. LeBron, really, at this late date, you have to turn this into a Wagnerian opera? Really? With, videos and I mean, come on.
Now, I will say, I think President Trump is scheduled to speak Thursday at like 8 o'clock Eastern.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a funny time to announce it.
Yes, it would. That's true.
That would be a funny time to announce it. But go ahead.
But I mean, beyond that, and again, back in the day, he did the decision, annoying at the time, yes. But if that holds up as the biggest negative on his ledger.
Agree.
Come on, man.
Yep.
And I'll throw this into the mix that maybe 612 guy forgot. You know what? The reputation of Brett Favre in New York with the Jets? Prima donna. Remember, the stories were that he had his own room.
Yep.
He wasn't even in the locker room with the rest of the players. So my guess is it's got more to do with the fact that you like football better than you do pro basketball. That's not illegal, but I would say that's a little bit overwrought to turn this into, Brett was a man's man. He's a guy, we loved him. A lot of people didn't love him, by the way, when he first got here. And in New York, like I said, his whole reputation was as a prima donna. So in all seriousness, I think you got to be real careful about I may be playing to your audience, or maybe you think it's going to sound cool around whatever water cooler you're at. But whatever you dislike about his approach, shouldn't that be a little bit balanced by the fact that he's coming up on 42 years old?
That's it.
And is still a top 25, top 30 player in basketball, and at times better than that? Look at his numbers. Now, he's not the same guy he was.
But he's 42.
But he's 42, for God's sake. He is doing stuff Michael Jordan couldn't do at a close age. So, again, it's fashionable, it's cool, and he whines too much, and I don't even think he does whine that much. And I will add again that for some people, that's become almost like a habit, an itch that you can't stop scratching. But deep down, often the people who do that in our business do it because it's habit and it's tradition, but that then they'll say when they have to, but, kind of hard to argue with what he continues to do at an age that, most people have been long gone from the game.
I don't know if it was after the Cleveland title or maybe the Lakers won. I don't know. At some point, because I was annoyed by the decision, I remember where I was watching it. I'll never forget that. And yes, it can be eye-rolling, but first of all, he's not the first guy to make the whole world revolve around him if you're a star basketball player or star athlete, right?
Yeah, and look, he'll have his own way where occasionally there'll be the eye rolling, oh, God,
yeah.
Ron, all right, we get it. But I'm trying to do the balancing. You have to, if you fixate on only those things, you're missing too much of the story. And I think it's a lot of times because, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. People tell me, I hear people complain about LeBron all the time. And I would say at some point, he should have worn you down simply by his durability.
That's it.
And his not going away and being more than, at this point, just a guy who might play 9 minutes off the bench at the age of 42.
And that's kind of where I was going. At some point, I just decided, or I don't even know if it was decided for me, but I just realized I just can't spend any more time being mad at this guy for anything because of what he still continues to do. Even if 10 years ago, if he did it, it would have bothered me. It's like to me, he gets graded on a different curve now because of, we just take for granted, oh yeah, LeBron, free agent. The dude is 42 years old or about to be 42 years old. He's played 24 seasons. He's done everything that you could possibly do. He's been grandfathered in on any ridiculousness that he wants to do, if you perceive it as that, which I don't, because of just the longevity and the continued greatness, and even how he played this last year when everybody else got hurt and he had to jump back into being the number one role. I can't be mad at him anymore. I just kind of appreciate what he's doing at 40-some years old.
He's 41 now, right? I think he's going to turn 42.
Mm-hmm.
Averaged 21 points a game, 7.2 assists a game, 6.1 rebounds a game, shot 50, speaking of shooting, 51.5% from the floor. 8 for 15, basically, on average. And 3 points, not very good at this point. He's only shot 31.7%. That's the lowest he has shot from three since the 2015-16 season. So, yeah, that's not perfect. Averaging 5 free throws a game. Are you insane? Come on, man. And he would fit. There's no question about that. Although Sam Mitchell does not agree with me on that, or you. Maybe we'll have Sam on soon. We're due, or maybe a little bit overdue, too. And, again, I mean, you have to say, if the biggest scandal for LeBron in terms of, any sort of controversies off the court, in terms of, anything, police blotter, any of this nonsense, is that he had the grandiose decision thing where he sat down with Jim Gray. That's really, when you look back on it now, if that's the worst thing you got, then you've had a pretty good run to that extent when it comes to quote-unquote controversy.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival. It's time for Jonny Athletic, Jonny Athletic, Jonny Athletic. And he's on with Dan Barrero right now.
Is Johnny on with us? I don't even see
he's there. Can you see him on your phone?
No, on my screen it doesn't show. And the phone's too far away, so why don't you just pot him up for me? Jonny Athletic joining via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. How many shows while you were in Vegas did you see at what's the name of that brilliant new...
Oh, the Sphere.
The Sphere. How many shows did you see at the Sphere?
See, this was a business trip, Dan.
Here we go.
Not vacation, okay? So I was grinding from morning to night. I had no time to go to the Sphere, to lollygag around and do all the things, that the less serious folks had. So I had to get some stuff done. So no Sphere shows for me, unfortunately.
Interesting. I was actually not going to lead with LeBron, but I do like this text that has come in. It's volatile, but it raises, I think, maybe a fair question. 952 guy writes the following. This coming season will be a failure if we don't sign LeBron. We traded two power forwards, do not have the resources to fill that spot with a quality player, other than signing someone willing to play for less than market value. Now, you can argue, you can't necessarily say it'd be a failure, but I would say he's onto something about the importance of what he might represent if you get him, because this team literally has no other suitable answer at the position. If it's not him, you're piecing it together, hoping you can figure some things out, maybe going small here, going a little bigger there, but he does represent the last hope to actually put a real, living, distinguished power forward at the position.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Dan. In that way, and that's honestly a lot of the pitch that the Timberwolves are giving LeBron's people is, hey, we need you, so come on in. This is not going to be any case of you jumping on the bandwagon, of riding coattails, of having anything kind of just laid out for you to waltz to a ring. There's no bald-faced ring chasing here. This is a team that does have a need not only for you at power forward, but also for your experience. I mean, not only are, Randall and Reed gone to create a hole at power forward, Mike Conley, Joe Ingles, Kyle Anderson all gone to create a little bit of a void in the veteran leadership role as well. So they do need him. I mean, I certainly wouldn't say it's a failure because they didn't just give away Reed and Randall. They got an all-star caliber point guard back at a position that they absolutely needed to address. So there's been some things that they've done to help themselves, but it is an unfinished roster with a glaring hole right now that needs to be addressed one way or another, whether it's today or whether it's in January, to really give themselves the best chance to compete in the Western Conference.
Is this the week?
I hope so. It would be nice to kind of get it out of the way, but I was out in Vegas and I was talking to a bunch of people, and one of the words that you kept hearing from people around there, I certainly did not talk to LeBron about this, but I think one of the words that you hear is deliberate. Like, they are taking their time. They are not in a rush to make this decision because the salary that LeBron will command is not going to be exorbitant, so he can take his time to really think about things and really try to come to the best conclusion possible. And so I think, there's a little bit of murmuring around the league that he might be getting closer to a decision and to an announcement, but no one really knows for sure. There's a lot of guesswork going on right now.
We were talking earlier about some of the texts that have come in regarding just whether Wolves fans want LeBron to come. And I sense a lot of performing going on from people who have been told everything about LeBron is a pain in the ass, so therefore I don't want to be a part of the circus, which to me defies any meaningful logic if you evaluate in its totality on what he has done and what he continues to do. But I'll read you one and you respond. I watched almost every game last season. I might not even watch them at all if they signed LeBron. Let's take him at his word.
Okay.
Let's take him at his word. I don't believe him, but let's take him at his word. What is that about?
It's really interesting, Dan, because I think there's a couple of things that go into it. One is that there certainly is a debate right now, and that's been going on for a long time, LeBron or Michael Jordan. And so there's a certain age group of fans who will never kind of bow to LeBron and say, nope, Jordan's my guy. And if I engage with LeBron, if I acknowledge this stuff, if I don't degrade him at every chance that I get, then he has a chance to overtake my guy. And I'm not going to allow that to happen. So I think that's one possible factor. I think another one, Dan, for a certain segment of the population, LeBron is very outspoken on social justice issues, on things of that nature. And I think that there are plenty that don't like his political views, don't like his willingness to say whatever he says, whenever he says it. And so he turns off that way as well. And, and then I think finally he's been in this thing for 23 years. And I do think that maybe some people would say, gosh, I just can't not get away from this guy. He keeps getting, he's the face of the league. It's LeBron. And that's not what I'm about. Now, I think most of those arguments are either bad faith or ill-suited, but I think that they are real for a portion, depending on your perspective, of how you view the thing. And so, yes, he has plenty of detractors also, though, for every one that would say, I'm never watching the Wolves again, there'd be and that would tune in and watch the Wolves for the first time. I think that the Wolves would take that trade.
Here's another one. We don't want him to come. He's the biggest flopper in the history of the NBA. It's so nonsensical to reduce a player of his caliber, regardless of whatever warts you think are on there, to these mindless, lazy cliches. It's bizarre.
Yeah, Dan, and I'll say, like, as a person who has watched more NBA, a lot of people over these last 25 years, has LeBron flopped every once in a while?
Yes.
Does he argue with officials?
No
yes,
question.
He does, 100%. In one of the more egregious violators? No, not even close.
One more, and then I promise we'll get to other things. I worry, a lot of days I think we've got like the best informed listeners out there. Then some days I'm saying we've got the least well-informed.
Yes.
Here it is. Where did it go? Here. Getting LeBron would be a typical move of Minnesota sports franchise. Get an old player who's got little left in the tank. Hope that some miracle championship happens. Guaranteed LeBron James comes to Minnesota, he'll have his very worst season of his career. And I'll say to Bill again, I'll try not to mock the absurdity of the position. Again, with how he started. Even if you don't think, he's as good as he even was this last season, look at the Wolves' position at that position that he could play. Because, again, at least for now, there is no other viable option. So I would argue, it is even if he's not what you thought he was. He is a tremendous gift, or would be, given the fact that they literally have no other money to play with, and he would come for whatever number would accommodate, because allegedly he's not all that concerned about the money. It's just mind-numbing how people lose their minds, are losing their minds over this thing. And the irony, of course, is I don't even think he's coming, but that's another story.
Right, yeah, and I this is one of the things that I struggle with quite often, Dan, honestly, is I do see a lot of these comments, and I look at them, and most of them are either completely uneducated, don't watch the NBA at all, and so why am I giving them the time of day? Yeah. But there's a lot out there. There are a lot of them out there, and it's just ridiculous to try and combat them, but there's plenty of those dissenting opinions out there that, with LeBron more so than most. But you're right. I mean, for whatever price it would be, for the needs that he would fill, and for what he still is as a player, which is a damn good player, it would be a no-brainer, and it wowould be a dereliction of duty if the Wolves said, no, we don't want you. It would be crazy.
Brian from Medina asks, I think, a legitimate question. He even says, I hope it's not a stupid one, if the Wolves would have known they were going to get LaMelo, would they still have signed Ayo to that hefty contract? Maybe we'd have been better spending that money on a power forward. That's loyal listener Brian from Medina. What do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I would say that they still probably wanted to keep him for a couple of reasons, because one is he fit in very well here with the rest of the team. I think that the players and the coaches really liked him. He was very productive. And there's a belief that they can get even more out of him than they saw last year. Secondly, it's true that they did get LaMelo, but you're still going to need a guard rotation. You're going to need three really good guards no matter what to play in this league at a high level anymore. And so now if you have LaMelo and Ant and you have Ayo, that's a really, really good threesome there. And so I think they would still go ahead with it, because I would posit that even if Ayo doesn't start at the start of this year, his quality at that position is probably higher than most of the guys that they could have gotten on the open market with a few more dollars. And I don't want to get into too much salary cap, but just because they signed Ayo to the $20 million a year roughly that they signed him to with this deal, it doesn't mean if they would have let him go that they just automatically had an extra $20 million to spend on the open market. They would have had to make some trades. They would have had to make some other maneuvers, because they already had Ayo's bird rights. And so they could go over the cap to sign him, where they could not have done it to sign a free agent. So there's just a lot of mechanisms involved there that say, I think they still would have done the Ayo deal.
This just came in from 651 guy. Do you think the weekly first take topics show up by accident on LeBron being the most self-absorbed and self-obsessed player? I mean, there's your Bible. I mean, if he's showing up on first take, we know.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Right.
My God.
Yes,
by the way, for the record.
Absolutely. And
go ahead.
Well, I would say, maybe to where you're going, find me a number one or number two all-time great player in any league that doesn't have a little bit of self-absorption and that doesn't have a little bit of, I run the show here.
Yes.
Your favorite Michael Jordan did.
Oh, my God.
Tom Brady did. Yes. Any of these absolute apex predator athletes roll like this. You just have to. And guess what? Anthony Edwards is going to be there if he gets there. That's just what it is. That's how these guys do it.
And the point of this is, again, wherever he ends up, nobody is asking him to be a savior. There's an understanding that he's in a different role. I think even he gets that. Averaged last year at 41, 21 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He's played in the last 3 seasons in 60, 70, and 71 games. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we? I'm mad at myself for spending this much time on it, because I said I don't expect him to be here, but we're being reminded about an element out there, man. That's kind of scary. No question about that. What's the most interesting thing you learned Wolves related during your Vegas trip?
Yeah, I mean, really quickly on LeBron still of like, they still believe they're in it. Like they do not think that this is orchestrated. They continue to have dialogue with his people. And so, I don't know if surprised is the right word, but certainly it was interesting to hear their perspective of, yeah, we still have a chance here. On the team in general now, just watching Yohan Berenger play is going to be important. I mean, they're playing him at the power forward a little bit. I still don't think you can do that with Rudy right now, but you can maybe do that later down the line. He looked very good in the first game. I think he's going to play again tonight, so we'll check out how he looks again. But he just looks bigger, stronger, more physical. He speaks English better. He has a better handle on things. And he's going to play the backup five at least 15 minutes a night, and they may find other ways to get him in even more. Sure. And so I think that's very promising to start with him.
Well, let me ask you this on him. So do you envision times where he could be, not just as a backup, but combinations where he is the only big man on the floor, that because of either matchups? I mean, what can he, in your mind, be projected to do this coming season that might introduce another element? Or are there some similarities between what he represents and what Rudy represents?
Yeah, I think so. I do think that you will see plenty of time with him as the lone big out there. I think when Rudy is out, I think you will see a lot of Berenger most nights, and especially when they're short at the four, there really is no other option to go super small. And so Berenger is going to be out there, and the key for him at the five is going to be, can he stay out of foul trouble? Like, one thing that we saw from him last year that was not concerning but expected when you're that young is he wants to block every shot, and he's kind of wild, chasing everything, and that gets him to reach, and that gets him to be out of position, and then he gets in foul trouble. Now, when you're only playing 15 to 18 minutes a night, it's probably fine. But if you want to project forward, I do think, Dan, that the Wolves are projecting that whenever Rudy is done here, whether it's after this year or next year or whatever it is, that Yohan Berenger is going to be their main big guy, and that's the plan. And so all of this this season going forward is going to be to prepare him. You give him 15 to 18 to 20 minutes, a night this year, and then next year he's ready for 30. And I think that's what the ideal is. That's how highly they think of him, because not only can he defend, he doesn't defend quite as much as Rudy. Rudy's a generational defender, but he is so much more fluid offensively. And I think he can be such a bigger weapon offensively because of how he catches, because of how he moves and how he handles the ball, that they have some more things to play with on that end of the floor with him.
Finchie to Chris Hine. I don't immediately envision Jaden just moving over and playing the four. While I can see at times he'll play there and maybe play a good number of minutes there, I don't see that right off the bat, and I don't necessarily, in my minds, I see that as a starting lineup with him there. What are we missing? Read between the lines for me there.
Yeah, you'll have some more on that at the Athletic this week, but I had a similar conversation with Finchie out there in Vegas, and I do think that I was surprised when he said that to me as well, in terms of, silly me, I was looking at, well, obviously you just slide Jaden to the floor and make it work that way, but the Wolves and Finchie in particular are talking about being much more malleable at that spot right now, and keeping Jaden at the three, keeping him defending on the perimeter. But then it's a mix and match of Terrence Shannon Jr., Jalen Clark, Trey Lyles is a guy that they signed. And so I think it'll be matchup related night in and night out. Now, a lot of coaches talk about this going into a season, say, yeah, I'll mix and match the starting lineup night to night, depending on it. They usually don't. So we'll see if Finchie is a man of his word there, but maybe just with the circumstances, he might have to be right now, again, presuming LeBron or someone else does not come in, is like they just are going to have to be flexible. And if they're playing a super big team, maybe it's Lyles one night. If they're playing a smaller team where they can get away with Shannon and need more scoring, maybe it's him. If they need just rugged defense, maybe it's Jalen Clark. And so I think that he's just going to try to mix and match as best that he can until a more permanent solution comes along.
All right, I'm sure you've been doing all kinds of work backgrounding on LaMelo from the moment the deal was done, and now, of course, it's official. So let's get ahead of the presser tomorrow, which I'm assuming you're going to attend. Give me something about LaMelo that might surprise basketball people that you have learned and that might come up tomorrow. Let's get ahead of the story.
Yeah, I think that the interesting thing, and I've talked to a bunch of people in Charlotte who have been around him. I've talked to a couple of other people that are around him, even one in Australia as well, and like the overwhelming sentiment about him, Dan, that has surprised me is like they all just say, hey, he's actually a really good kid that just wants to go and hoop and then go home. Like he's not the knucklehead that he's portrayed as. Yeah, he's done a few silly things, and yeah, he'll take a bad shot here and there, but by and large, I think you're going to hear Chris Finch, Tim Connolly talk about this tomorrow. And I think LaMelo as well, is that, he needs to get to a serious environment that is all about winning all of the time, that has a little bit of a track record. And they believe that he's going to actually thrive in that spot. And that, this perception of him with the tattoos and the bright, shiny cars and all this thing, they believe that there's a actual serious-minded player in him. I think he's got to prove that. I understand why people doubt that. But it's just really surprised me. I talked to Finch about him because honestly, Dan, he does not seem like a Chris Finch player. He seems like, Mike Conley is a Chris Finch point guard. But actually Finch just thinks that his size, and he talked to Steve Clifford, who coached LaMelo Ball a lot, and said that actually he's really coachable and he's a good kid. You just got to keep him on the train tracks and everything will be fine. And so I think you're going to hear a lot about the culture here, the environment here being set up now to place real expectations on LaMelo, and for LaMelo to just come in and be able to do his work and kind of stay out of whatever issues that he faced in Charlotte, kind of on and off the court.
Two final LeBron questions. One, do you have any inkling, any information to suggest that A-Rod in particular, with what he might represent to a LeBron James, is being very aggressive himself in terms of trying to talk with him or talk to his people to sell in a different way? And secondly, do we know whether Conley has insisted that Wolves Media Relations find a way to get the David Aldridge column to LeBron's people as well?
Yeah, I think, Dan, there's that report last week about Rich Paul saying that any executive or owner could put a voice memo together and that Rich would send that to LeBron to listen to. And I think that Aaron Freeman is reading the David Aldridge column right now into his voice memo, and then that will be sent forward for LeBron to listen to, so he doesn't have to read it himself. He can just listen to it. But on a more serious note, yes, Alex Rodriguez is involved at a high level. I think the Wolves in general, from top to bottom, have been very aggressive in going after and letting LeBron and his people know that they want him here. And I do know that Alex and LeBron have met in the past. They are two megawatt stars that have crossed paths and know each other. And so I think that does help the Timberwolves a little bit. Alex knows, he's not quite the star that LeBron is globally, but he certainly knows what it's like to be on the hot seat and to be scrutinized at an incredibly high level. And if I were him, I would be using all of those experiences to impart to LeBron that they can set up an environment for him to be, do exactly what he wants and to come here and win a lot. And so, yeah, A-Rod is very much involved in this and trying to get something done and trying to make the Timberwolves have their best foot forward.
Oldsmobile guy thinks he's got a scoop. His sources say that Johnny Vegas is the overwhelming favorite to ask the opening question to LaMelo tomorrow. Will he stand tall or allow Jace Frederick to steal his thunder? I'll hang up and listen.
We will see about it, Dan. Generally speaking, protocol is that I get the first one. I've been there forever, and so usually it goes to me. But I will say on some of these big-time press conferences, you get TV folks in there who generally aren't around a lot and like to have their voices heard.
That's a great point.
And will jump the gun a little bit. And
wow, say that to Chris Long's face.
Limelight, that's fine.
Who are you calling out?
Say that to Chris Long's face, Johnny. I mean, say that to C. Long's face. Say that to, I'm trying to think
we got
who else.
C. Long, we got Maxie, we got all these guys.
Yeah, money's on Maxie.
You've laid down the gauntlet. Very well played. Also,
everyone's going to be excited.
There's no question about that. Then this comes in from the KFAN's burner account. Johnny, LeBron wouldn't even be able to get on the list to do Let's Play Hockey for the Wild, #HockeyTown. How good is that?
There's no way that they would let LeBron do it because, I mean, you talk about, you have LeBron James walk in there and say, let's play hockey, and then I'll see you across the river. Everyone would follow him right out there of the building. Like, that's exactly what would happen.
That's so good. You know what? In all honesty, I think Bill Guerin, if somehow Bill Guerin could help, I think Guerin is such an affable guy, wants everybody to win.
Yeah.
But you know what?
My guess is he would do it. Now, I'm not saying it would have any effect on LeBron, but maybe it would. Maybe
Bill Guerin should send him a voice memo.
Absolutely.
Craig Leopold.
And a Bill Guerin, you know what? And it would start with, you know what?
Yeah.
Be perfect.
Frustrating.
Kirill Kaprizov.
Who's to say what might, take the Wolves over the top, right?
Maybe that's what can bring this divided market together. Maybe that's exactly what it is, and I'm all for that.
Might have something to do with it. Thank you. We'll be in touch as the week proceeds. Be good, Johnny.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
Jonny Athletic, as only he can present on Minnesota Timberwolves activity, the Vegas experience, and so much more. We'll make this the top of the hour pause.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800 Ask Gary Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored.
You can stay plugged into everything KFAN, the sports updates, the ticket giveaways, the show highlights. Follow at KFAN 1003 on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. Yeah, we're on all of them.
Billy Guerin's meatballs replaced the Glenn Taylor lasagna in closing the deal for LeBron.
But you know what?
By the way, I'm pretty much a Michael Jordan apologist. That reason being one of the reasons of resentment on LeBron in this, I guess you could say, situation makes no sense to me. And again, on the Jordan-LeBron comparisons, I've been militant about Michael's got a chip that LeBron doesn't have, but I one thing should not have anything to do with the other.
Probably some Kobe fans in there as well.
True. It's just today was an interesting social experiment and a little bit troubling, I might add. Let's get to this without any further ado.
And now, it's time for Ode to a Dead Guy.
I don't remember were you a big Jurassic Park guy?
Yes, I liked it.
Hard not to as a phenomenon, right?
Yes.
You could say, well, was the filmmaking brilliant? But it, for what it represented, the special effects at the time, the whole concept of is a great book, by the way.
Michael Crichton.
Crichton, that's very good.
Yep.
And again, the movie, I think, is considered more about the dinosaurs than any of the characters or actors in it. Nevertheless, the Sam Neill role, right? As, I guess you could say, the scientist who is brought in, kind of almost like bribed to come in, had a terrific part, I think, in bringing some humanity to the motion picture. And Sam Neill, as many of you might know by now, has died at the age of 78 years old in Sydney, Australia. He appeared in more than 150 films and TV shows, worked for more than 50 years in the business. But as the paleontologist, Dr. Alan Grant, in the Jurassic Park series, He was outstanding, crucial, one could say. And maybe he got tired of just being identified as that guy, because the critics definitely identified him for much greater versatility as he revealed and exhibited in a number of other motion pictures and TV shows. That's for sure. Have you ever seen the film Dead Calm with Nicole Kidman?
I don't think I have. Sounds chilling.
It's not a light romp.
Yeah.
It is an intense...
Would I be sweating like a stuck pig?
Troubling, yes.
Yes.
Troubling in many ways motion picture. He was in Cry in the Dark with Meryl Streep. Number of TV roles as well. But I thought he did an outstanding job. And there's no reason being given for his passing. He had been diagnosed with angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma in March of 2022, according to the New York Times story. But the statement said that he was cancer-free when he died. He was born in Northern Ireland, raised in New Zealand, and again, had kind of the perfect combo platter where, as the Times puts it, he had the magnetism of a leading man and a character actor's taste for variety. So you could say, in a sense, almost the perfect combo platter. But the Jurassic Park series, especially one could say, I guess, the first film, it opened up doors, and it was the thing.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
It was, and there were, I thought it was actually a very good cast when you look back on it.
Goldblum, among others.
Goldblum, among others. Yep. That's it. But I mean, the role he played was perfect. Trying to bring something serious to it, like, well, what are we talking about here? And they did a great job, of course, of getting him to show his wonderment as this paleontologist sees what he studies forever coming to life.
He can't believe it.
On the hillside, but just beyond him in the Jeep.
He can't believe it.
Right?
The Jeep with no doors.
The Jeep.
Actually, I think it had doors.
It actually had doors, yeah.
They
made a point of it having doors.
Well, I would say, though, to your point earlier, that was Exhibit A on the doors are meaningless. If there's issues like a car crash or a T-Rex, whether you have the doors on or not is not going to matter. But go ahead.
So, in fact, in that key scene, he spots the dinosaurs first, and then his companion and girlfriend is played by Laura Dern. And if you recall, the roof of the Jeep is open.
Yep.
So she's looking at something else, and he's noticed the dinosaurs, and he kind of cups her head and basically raises her up to say, look, I think to the left. I don't remember which direction. At which point she does a good job pretending she sees dinosaurs, because everybody said that's what you had to do in that film if you were acting, because you weren't really seeing what was later added on screen, right? In many cases, you're not seeing anything as dramatic as a T-Rex or a Brontosaurus or whatever the case may be.
Velociraptor.
I'll tell you another very underrated moment in that film, I think he was the key to it. He's in the tree with the kids, and so things have kind of settled down after a traumatic experience getting them out of one of the Jeeps, from under one of the Jeeps. And now they're up in the trees, and they're just trying to rest to catch their breath. And one of the plant-eating dinosaurs comes over to say hello.
Yeah.
And he just had a great manner and air about him with the kids that was very different, obviously, than when you're dealing with the T-Rex. Almost the wonderment of the situation. I thought he was excellent in that scene with those children. And, of course, the kicker was he hated kids. He didn't want anything to do with kids. And as the movie went on, he found himself being incredibly good with children beyond what he might have even imagined of himself.
Speaking of kids, because you hit on the two things, the wonderment of him just not even being able to understand or believe that he's actually looking at real live dinosaurs. Like his face.
Yes,
I can still see it. But if you didn't live through the early 90s when Jurassic Park was coming through, I mean, just think about how times have changed. Like, that movie was on, I remember seeing it at Mall of America, and just, if it had 15 theaters, 12 of them had Jurassic Park because that's how many people wanted to go see it. You had to have a Jurassic Park like a train running every 12 minutes.
That's true.
To keep up with the demand for people that wanted to go to the theater to watch the movie. And do you remember the ETS? That was a big thing back then. You'd have Jurassic Park, and then it was like a special sound.
Yes, the sound, yes.
And I vividly remember, like, the person at the cashier, the ticket taker, whoever, I'm 11, what's ETS? And they tell you, well, you think you know what this sounds like. You won't even believe the special effects sound. If you go to an ETS, it's like the dinosaurs right next to you. Like, to explain that to kids today, first of all, going to the theater, having to go to the theater, because Jurassic Park is sustained, obviously. They just made another one a couple of years ago. Your gal, Scarlett Johansson's in it.
That's true, right?
The phenomenon that it was at the time, I don't even know how to explain it other than you had to live through it and be there.
Yeah, I don't think there's been one quite like that. Titanic, again, you could say more innocent times. Yeah, maybe that would be
Titanic
probably close.
Would be one where it was in the 50 theaters for 6 straight months, and you went to go see it multiple times.
You just broke the Sam Neill passing to me. I'm heartbroken. Love him. Never forget his film Event Horizon. 612 guy is mentioning, or gal, mentioning a film called The Piano. Sam Neill had the famous line in Hunt for Red October, I would have liked to have seen Montana. Yeah, he was in a lot of films, a lot of really good films.
Especially back then.
Another 612, this is Nate from Bloomington. Jurassic Park played at the cheap Apple Valley Theater for a year and a half. Right. I saw it 5 times there.
Yes.
LOL. Yeah.
That's what it did. Yeah, they never left the theater because that's where they made the money.
Yeah, it was, you had to be in on it. There's no question about that. We'll come back, wrap up the show, and give you some idea of what we might have coming up tomorrow when we return.
You're listening to Barrero.
It's 1975.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
Yes, I did, Brett, read the book Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, which Gaardsy had mentioned as well. In fact, what's the sequel? I think I've read the sequel, too. There is a sequel to
Jurassic Park 2.
I think that was the movie, but I think the book did have another name. It'll come to me in a minute. Gaardsy, how about the line for the first Ninja Turtles movie back in the day?
What was that one?
I don't know. Is that true? Several years ago, I got the chance to go to a screening.
The line. Got it. To get into the movie.
Yeah, to get into the movie.
Lost World?
Lost World. Thank you. That's it. A screening of... by the way, I think I know on Lost World, the book, I have a signed copy of that book. And it was one of those deals, I didn't meet him, but it was one of those deals where you want to pay a little extra, you get a signed copy. That guy was beyond prolific between, novels, TV things that he developed that turned into immortality, etc. Several years ago, I got the chance to go to a screening of Jurassic Park at Orchestra Hall with the Minnesota Orchestra providing the music. Absolutely incredible. That's from 763 guy. Alan in Afton, a regular, I think we quoted him earlier in the show. Dan, thanks for the show today and not invoking summer hours. I am stuck in the Orlando airport for the last 5 hours due to weather. It's a business trip, and the LeBron silliness and the Jeep door terrorism discussion has been a nice distraction. As always, enjoying the show. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank
Somebody
you.
did text, and I may get back this tomorrow, and they agree with the Sam Mitchell position, which is LeBron does not want to go to a team that has LaMelo as a key ball handler and Anthony Edwards. The only comeback I would have to that is he was just on a team that had 2 guys who need the ball a decent amount, right? Luka, who's been hurt.
But Dan.
And who's the other guard?
Austin Reeves.
Just signed Austin Reeves.
AR-15.
So, yeah.
Think about this. What's LeBron going to do the first time he takes a 3 from 55 feet away? LeBron's running the floor. You think he's going to run the floor, Dan? You think LeBron James going to run the floor when LaMelo shoot it from 60 feet?
When we have him on next time, we should save that and play that clip just to get a reaction.
I don't know. It might make him mad.
Well,
I kind of like it.
He's developed actually a pretty good sense of humor at this point. And he's still living off the fact that he predicted before the playoffs began the Knicks would win it over the Spurs.
Hey, why not?
Which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Because there weren't a lot of people projecting the Knicks to win the whole thing before it started. They got smarter as we saw him play. A lot of people did, but not before the whole thing began. I want to thank Jonny Athletic. Joined us late today, later than usual at 5:30. Kind of a Talker Tuesday on a Monday. A lot of Twins conversation early. Late, we had Ode to a Dead Guy. What did we get into in the middle? Also
the Jeep car door stuff.
We did do that, you're right. And then some Wolves stuff.
Happiness, being fun.
Yeah, before even Johnny appeared. Do you see Johnny fire back? I talked to Finch, too. He wanted to make sure we knew that Hine wasn't the only one to talk to.
Relax.
That's just
these guys are such alpha dogs.
His position is established. We know.
He's going to get the first question tomorrow.
Is anybody going to forget Jonny Athletic?
No. Well, and I would say you don't even have an editor to wait for, really.
That's true.
I mean, you do, but get your column out.
Put it out there.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Put it out there.
Sorry about your perfect plan for The Athletic and your content creation.
So 11 o'clock presser, live on the fan with LaMelo. Is that correct?
Yes. Johnny should get the first question.
And we'll work on maybe a couple of ancillary folks who we hope we can chat with regarding that deal, because this will be the first time he will have met the public or met the Jackals officially as a member of the team. It is not taking place at the Rotunda at the Mall of America. Is that correct?
No, it's not. It's in the Skyway level.
Well, if you're trying to convey a serious message with LaMelo Ball,
the atrium.
You're not going to do it